It is Sunday, December 29, 2019. It's the final LCJ Live of 2019. Honestly, I think the year has flown by. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. Welcome to the show. Got a lot to talk about today. I will name my 10 best movies of 2019. I put it out over social media in the past couple days, but if you didn't see the list or the video, I will be naming those coming up. We'll take a look at some box office surprises, surprise hits, and surprise disappointments of 2019, and give you the lowdown on everything else coming up in the world of LCJ. As always, send in your questions, your comments. We are almost to New Year's. Can you believe it? Just a couple days away. Now, at the box office this weekend, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker made $72 million. That's a 60% drop from the $175.5 that it made last weekend. So that is a pretty steep drop. As far as the new movies go, Little Women with a 5-day open of $29 million, and Spies in Disguise with a 5-day open of $22 million. You know, Little Women, they got to be happy at Sony. They made a decent amount of money, but the folks at Disney and Fox, $22 million over 5 days with kids, out basically that entire time. I know a lot of families may not go on Christmas Day because they got a lot of other things to do, but the other 4 days only adding up to $22 million. It's not a huge number for Spies in Disguise. You think about Sing, the animated movie that came out 3 years ago from Universal and Illumination. I think, it had a $70 million 3-day or something, big numbers, or 5-day, something like that. This did not. So clearly Spies in Disguise not connecting with families as much as Sing or some other animated movies that have come out towards the end of the year. In fact, Frozen 2 made more money Friday through Sunday than Spies in Disguise did. So little disappointing on that, but some strong limited opens for 1917, which has totaled $1 million in 5 days in 11 theaters. Just Mercy, which is doing pretty well in 4 theaters, and Clemency, which opened up on Friday starring Alfre Woodard in just 1 theater in Los Angeles and 1 theater in New York, had a higher per-screen average in those 2 theaters than Star Wars did this weekend. So round of applause to Clemency. Fantastic. Get this movie out there. Let's get Alfre Woodard nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. She is incredible in this movie. When we talk about some of the box office surprises and disappointments of 2019, I made a list of a few in each case. In the surprises category, The Addams Family made a lot more money, I think, than a lot of people expected it to. Also, Knives Out, which did really well this weekend. I think it had a bigger weekend this weekend than last weekend. I said weekend a lot in that sentence. Knives Out is worthy of the acclaim that it's been getting. It's one of the best movies of the year. And it's made a lot of money because people are always intrigued by whodunits, murder mystery movies, and especially in this case, it being a comedy and being an all-star cast, Knives Out has done really well. One of the big box office surprises of 2019, along with Hustlers. I don't think STX, Jennifer Lopez, or Lorene Scafaria, who I interviewed on the LCJ Q&A recently, expected that Hustlers would do as well as it did. $33 million opening weekend, more than $100 million total in the United States of America. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum exceeded expectations when it came out this summer, proving that the John Wick fan base is there. That Keanu Reeves is back and he's got another franchise besides The Matrix in his portfolio. First John Wick made like $40 million. The second John Wick made about $90 million. This movie making, I think, $175, something close to that. John Wick Chapter 3, a huge hit with John Wick 4 coming in a couple of years. And finally, for box office surprises, gotta mention Downton Abbey. We knew the fan base was there, but how many would come out and see this? It did really well for Focus Features when it came out this fall. Now, 5 box office surprise disappointments, and I used the picture of this one last night in teasing today's LCJ Live. Dr. Sleep. I was expecting this to be huge. The Shining fan base coming out for it, but just wasn't there. Same in the fall time frame with Terminator Dark Fate, which only made about $62 million in the U.S., and Charlie's Angels. Definitely three of the biggest box office disappointments of 2019. A couple from earlier in the year. One has to be one of the worst movies of the year, which is Hellboy. The new Hellboy that came out was atrocious, and it made a little bit of money in its first weekend and then completely fell off the face of the earth over the next couple weekends and then went out of theaters completely. Hellboy, definitely one of the biggest disappointments. On the animated side, you had a couple that didn't do spectacularly. And one of them is Abominable from DreamWorks, and the other is the Angry Birds Movie 2 from Sony. I just don't know if it was competition. When Abominable came out, 2 weeks later, Addams Family came out, and Addams Family, a far weaker film than Abominable, but it made more money. And then Angry Birds Movie 2 in the summertime in August. It's a fun movie. It's right up there. I think it's slightly better than the first one was. But it just didn't connect with a lot of families. It wasn't the semi-juggernaut that the first Angry Birds was. So that's too bad. Disappointed by those. But still, quality movies, Abominable and Angry Birds. If you need some fun family films to watch over the long holiday break, definitely check those two out. Speaking of quality, money talks, says Kinno Dromes. Yeah, money does talk. Hey, speaking of movies of 2019, let me run down my 10 best list for you. These are the 10 best movies that I saw in 2019. New movies, new releases. I watched 145 new releases in 2019, close to a record. So number 10 on my list is Storm Boy, which is a family drama that came out in April, I think, early springtime. Not a lot of people saw this, but it's based on an Australian classic family story about a boy and his relationship with a pelican, actually a trio of pelicans, but one in particular. And Jeffrey Rush plays the older version of this boy, and they modernized the story slightly by going with the Jeffrey Rush storyline for half of the film. And it goes back and forth in time, and it's really smart and interesting the way it is done. It's different than other films that go back and forth between two different time periods with the same focal character. Really good. Jeffrey Rush is great in this. It's a sweet family film. It's a slightly grown-up family film, but kids about 10 to 12 years old will still get enough of the themes and messages. Find this. Seek it out. Storm Boy. Number 9 on my list is I Lost My Body. One of the best animated films of the year from Netflix. Watch it on Netflix. Please do. This is a really moving, unique story, once again, about a hand separated from the body of its owner, looking to find the owner. Really innovative, really different. Hope it gets an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature because it deserves it. Russ Top 3 Ever says, Uncut Gems is a masterpiece. Sandler is so great. I'm going to disagree with you on that. If you enjoyed it, great. I'm going to disagree with you. I think Sandler's good but not extraordinary because it's not too much of a differentiation from a lot of his other performances. It's a lot of comedy in Uncut Gems, and I was surprised by that. Do not think it's a masterpiece, but if you enjoyed it, great. You can root him on throughout this awards season. Number 8 on my list of the 10 best movies of the year is a film called Mike Wallace is Here. It's a great documentary, the best documentary of the year, on the legendary CBS newsman Mike Wallace. If you are into television news, if you are into the world of that at all, the media, reporters, journalism, you have to see this movie. It is 90 minutes of clips all strung together of Mike Wallace. Sometimes he's interviewing people, sometimes people are interviewing him. And with the score behind it and the steady beat and the rhythm of it and the tension, and it is riveting. It is absolutely riveting. Number 7 on my list is Loose, which is nominated for some Independent Spirit Awards. Wow, what a film. It's a powerhouse ensemble drama about a high school student athlete. He runs track. His name is Luce. He's got adoptive parents, and he's got a teacher, played by Octavia Spencer, who starts noticing his personality change a little bit. And the parents are not aware, but are they aware of what's going on? Really intriguing film, really riveting again. Loose, check this one out. It is really something. Number 6 on my list of the 10 best films of the year is Weathering with You. This is the best animated film of the year. And it is an anime romance. Young love in Japan, and the weather is a factor in this because in Tokyo, it's in the movie, it rains and rains and rains and rains. But can this girl that this young boy meets change the weather and change the course of their lives? Weathering with You is screening nationwide through Fathom Events on January 15th and 16th. Buy your tickets. Go see it. I also say buy your tickets to the number 5 movie, which we just talked about a little bit earlier on LCJ Live, Clemency. Alfre Woodard is incredible as a death row prison warden. This is a film that has an opening sequence that is unforgettable and a closing sequence that is unforgettable, and a lot of good stuff in between. Clemency. It's out in one theater in LA, one theater in New York, but it'll keep expanding over the next several weeks. Seek this out. Clemency is really good. Number 4 on my list of the best of the year is Ad Astra. Love this movie because it is a quiet film. It's a thought-provoking film. It's a fascinating film. Brad Pitt is so good. He's great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but this is the Brad Pitt performance of the year in the Brad Pitt movie of the year. Him and Tommy Lee Jones, Ruth Negga, supporting cast. There's a few other players who come in for a little bit. You gotta see Ad Astra. It is different sci-fi. There have been so many movies lately where A-listers go to space. I know, you're probably getting sick and tired of them. But trust me when I tell you that Ad Astra is different for different reasons. It's a special movie. Knives Out, number 3 on my list. Also a special movie because it's just pure fun. It is joyful, and it is exciting, and it has twists and turns, and donuts inside of donuts inside of donuts. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll know what I'm talking about when you finally do see it. Daniel Craig is great. Ana de Armas, Michael Shannon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Chris Evans. This is a good time at the movies. So's Parasite, but for different reasons. Parasite's my number 2 movie of the year. This is probably the most meticulously crafted movie I've seen in years. It is daring. It is special. It is, I can't tell you much about it if you haven't seen Parasite yet. I just say go, because you'll want to go in with an open mind, which is what I pretty much did going into Parasite, and it will blow you away of where the story of this family goes. But my number 1 movie of the year is Wild Rose, and it starred Jessie Buckley, turned 30 yesterday. Happy birthday, Jessie Buckley. This is quite a film. She plays a young woman named Rose Lynn who lives in Glasgow, Ireland. And she wants to become a country music singer in Nashville, a big-time country music singer, because that's the kind of music that she's drawn to as an artist. She's gotten into a little bit of trouble in her life. She's got a couple kids. She's got a mother played by Julie Walters, who is so good in this, who really wants to keep protecting her and watching over her, even though Rose Lynn kind of wants to break away. And there are a lot of really touching moments in this film. There's a song at the end that she sings called Glasgow that is fantastic. It's the best original song in a movie from 2019. That scene at the end is really something. But there's a lot leading up to it as well, because the movie goes in some directions you think you know where it's going, and then it shakes you up a little bit with the execution, and you go, huh. You know how the Brady Bunch always says, I never thought of it that way? Well, that's the case of Wild Rose, without question. This is a special film. It is a moving film, and it's a film you need to seek out. I hope it gets the Oscar nomination for song. Hope it gets some BAFTA nominations next week. Maybe it will. Wild Rose. It is the most freeing movie experience I had in 2019. It is quite something. Wild Rose. Check it out. That is the number 1 movie of 2019. Next Sunday, can you believe it? The Golden Globe Awards. Next Sunday, we will go through some predictions, some analysis, who could win the big top awards at the Golden Globe Awards, because that's next Sunday. And then next Tuesday, Jan 7, the nominations come out for the BAFTA Awards. So we're getting into the swing of things. Honorable mentions. Yeah, I got a couple honorable mentions on the website, but I'll give a few of them to you right now. One of them is The Farewell. Let's see if I can remember them all. Dr. Sleep is one of them. The Farewell is one of them. 1917 is one of them. Fighting with My Family. And I know I'm forgetting one more, but those are some of my honorable mentions. You want them all in my thoughts on those honorable mentions, head on over to the website, lights-camera-jackson.com. 1917. See it when it comes to you, as soon as it does. It's in some theaters right now, but it'll be going nationwide on Jan 10. What Sam Mendes does with the one continuous shot is quite something. Could it win at the Golden Globes and surprise everyone? I think it could win score for Thomas Newman. It's also up for director and picture. Maybe the Hollywood Foreign Press gives it to 1917. I'm waiting for some surprises. I'm ready for some good stuff this year. It's going to be an unpredictable award season, in a lot of cases more than ever before. So I'm looking forward to all that. Plus, new LCJ Q&A podcast episode, the first one of 2020, coming at you on Thursday with the director and producer of the Pixar animated short Kit Bull, which is one of the 10 animated shorts in contention for the Best Animated Short Film Oscar. So check that out. New LCJ Q&A podcast episode coming at you on Thursday. Also happening, I believe, on Thursday is going to be my 5 most anticipated movies of 2020. That's right, my 5 most anticipated. A lot to choose from, but what 5 movies am I most looking forward to seeing in 2020? I will reveal those later this week. There'll be some new blog pieces, some new features, and the new LCJ Q&A podcast episode coming at you this week, along with some special announcements on some big things happening as well. Do you think they'll make a 1918? Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a sequel to 1917 called 1918. Yeah, I think Sam Mendes is one and done. He's all good with the film he has made, but I don't think a direct sequel to that is going to happen. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. I wish you all a safe and happy new year. For more, go to lights-camera-jackson.com, Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, and if you have not watched this year's edition of the 12 Days of Movies of Christmas, head on over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/LightsCameraJackson. I'm LCJ. See ya in 2020 for more LCJ Live. Bye-bye.